Meanwhile, we've been covering all morning. President Trump is being indicted. He says that he's been ordered to appear in front of a Miami federal court next week. The Biden Department of Justice indicting Trump in the Mar-a-Lago classified documents probe. Trump released this response last night. Watch.
They're trying to destroy your reputation so they can win an election. And we will fight this out just like we've been fighting for 7 years. It would be wonderful if we could devote our full time to making America great again. I'm innocent, and we will prove that very, very soundly and hopefully very quickly.
Joining me right now is former Acting U.S. Attorney General Matt Whitaker. Matt, great to see you again. Thanks so much for being here. What's your reaction to this latest indictment?
Yeah. Well, good morning, Maria. I mean, it's a sad day for our country, for the rule of law. I mean, this proves that there is not equal justice under the law. One of the things that I think people need to understand is that Jack Smith, the special counsel, is not independent from the Department of Justice and Merrick Garland. These charges were for sure approved by Merrick Garland, and, you know, he was appointed directly by Joe Biden to do these types of things. I think it is not only the politicization of the Department of Justice and the weaponization of the Department of Justice, but I think this is just a full frontal assault. You know, the Department of Justice interfered in 2016 with the election, with the Russian collusion hoax. Then 2020, they suppressed the Biden laptop and interfered with that election. And now with these charges, they're interfering again in the 2024 election.
So what can you do about it? I mean, Donald Trump Jr. is questioning the timing of all of this. And we know that it's happening on the very same day that a whistleblower confirmed the story that Joe Biden took $5 million in a bribery scheme. The whistleblower alleging that Biden took the money, it's from Burisma in Ukraine. We just spoke with Anna Paulina Luna, and she says she saw the document yesterday. And in the document, the Burisma executive says $5 million for Joe Biden, $5 million for the other Biden. Yesterday, President Biden was asked about it and why Americans should even believe the Department of Justice. And what are your thoughts in terms of his response and in terms of the timing of all of this in the face of more evidence being released of Biden's influence peddling going back a decade plus?
Yeah, you're right. And you ask, what can we do? I mean, we have a toehold now in the House that is doing important oversight work, and this is a product of that, is seeing this document. But we can also, in 2024, win an election and take control of the Department of Justice and take control of the FBI and restore the rule of law. I can't, I remember sitting in that chair on the 5th floor and, just knowing that we had to follow regular order. We had to do justice. We had to wear the white hat. And that's, under Merrick Garland, that has gone completely out the window. And until we restore the rule of law and equal justice under the law, this is unfortunately going to continue. But I'm going to continue to speak out. I'm going to continue to hang a lantern over this bad behavior by rogue prosecutors, whether they're federal or state or local prosecutors. And, this is just this is the battle of our lifetime, I think.
Well, you're right. If this is true about Joe Biden and this happening now and they're indicting Trump instead, here's Joe Biden yesterday. Watch this.
I have never once, not one single time, suggested to the Justice Department what they should do or not do relative to bringing a charge or not bringing a charge. I'm honest.
Matt, your reaction?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you very simply, people is a policy. And so who you put in as Attorney General it might as well have given direct instructions, because by putting Merrick Garland in there, who had an axe to grind because of his failed Supreme Court nomination in 2015, 2016, it shows exactly the direction he wanted. So he doesn't have to tell the Department of Justice what to do. And it doesn't just have to be Joe Biden. Remember, the White House has White House counsel's office, has a chief of staff. There are other communications going on with the White House. And I'd be very interested in what's happening there. And back to your point on Joe Biden's, alleged corruption, I want to understand what the FBI did to investigate those allegations. All reports of that document are that it was credible. It was a source that had long time payments from the FBI to be a confidential human source. And I want to make sure the Department of Justice did some investigation to see if those allegations are true. We have no knowledge right now that they did anything to investigate that.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's hard to trust that the FBI leadership is going to do the right thing after all of the occasions of wrongdoing, from the Russia collusion lie where they pursued FISA warrants and surveillance on Trump officials, to sitting on the Biden laptop, even COVID-19 and its origins, for God's sakes. Matt, right now, Donald Trump is in the lead in terms of the Republican field for the GOP nomination. What are your thoughts in terms of this indictment impacting his ability to run for president?
Well, I think it doesn't affect his ability to run for president at all. I mean, the preparation for not only this trial, but the trial in Manhattan, will take some time, and it's going to be hard to do in the middle of a presidential primary and campaign. But, we saw with the Alvin Bragg charges that his poll numbers went up. And, he's significantly in the lead by more than 20 points in my home state of Iowa and nationally. And so, I think that, Donald Trump will win the GOP primary. I think that's pretty obvious, and these charges only make him stronger and demonstrate that, the establishment and the swamp is trying to take him down, and I think most Americans see it for what it is.
Yeah. All right, Matt. Great to get your take. Thanks very much. Matt Whitaker joining us this morning.